Good morning, guys. Welcome to my unboxing and review for the high-grade Cybaster Extra Finish version. I got this kit on Premium Bandai for, I believe, around $72, which is extremely expensive as far as high grades go. But the Cybaster is a very cool mobile suit. As you might know from my Huckbind review, I really like the Super Robot Wars series. The Cybaster itself has a very kind of unique design for like high-grade mecha being, or at least ones made by Bandai, being very kind of knight-inspired. Other than that, I think the kind of big suits that have this kind of motif are things like the Gyan, the Black Knight Squadron from the Seed Freedom movie, those kinds of things, but those releases are kind of few and far between. So I think this kit is going to be kind of like unique on the shelf. It's going to have a lot of presence. And I think combined with its size, gives it a flair that makes it quite unique. And is definitely going to be a very unique addition to any collection. In universe, this mech is the Lord of Wind and stands at 28.5 meters tall, which, if we put into standard high-grade scale, would be about 20 centimeters tall, a little taller than an average master grade. These Super Robot Wars kits are non-scale, so I'm expecting it to be significantly smaller. I'm going to expect it to be around like kind of 1/44th new Gundam size, but we will see. As you can see, we have kind of non-standard Premium Bandai box here with kind of the usual art for the Cybaster here, and the build on the bottom showing off the extra finish with that nice metallic sheen. Other than that, there's not really much info on this kind of comically thick box for a high grade, so let's get right into it. So, taking a look at the manual first, we have just the standard high-grade Cybaster box here, with that nice artwork on the front, showing off the Cybaster and the high familiar kind of attack drones it uses, which are piloted by pilot Masaki Ando's talking cat familiars. And this shows off kind of the various features of the Cybaster and its weapons and things. So you have the disc cutter, its kind of signature sword. You have it transforming into Cybird mode, and of course you have the high familiar like attack drones, which you will get 2 of. And I believe you also have stands to put them on, of course. And besides that, we also get this insert for the extra finish version, because similar to the Huckbind Trombe, in addition to kind of the unique appearance that it has from the extra finish, it also comes with an extra weapon, being the Vanity Ripper, which is an upgrade to the disc cutter. These kind of 2 swords that combine together into one quite large sword. So yeah. So this is the only new addition to this kit, besides the finish. So, inside the box, besides the manual, we get 9 bags of runners. Inside of those bags, 16 runners, which is quite a lot for a high grade, but a lot of these runners, as you can see, are quite small, with like very small kind of color separation parts, which makes it very surprising then that, especially for the super high grade Super Robot Wars line, that we have this rather sizable sticker sheet, which, apart from the usual kind of foil stickers for the eyes and various like kind of metallic details that you would expect, you also get what looks like a bunch of color correcting stickers in black, yellow, purple, red, and this sticker in black and yellow, which I'm not quite sure what it's for. But taking a look at the runners themselves. Okay, so I might have miscounted the runners. When I recounted them just now while I was sorting them out, there were 17 runners, which again, quite a lot for a high grade. But starting with runner A, which we get 2 of, for a bunch of parts for the high familiar, the shoulders, the kind of wings on the back, in this very nice kind of metallic silver. If you've ever built the master grade Hyaku Shiki 2.0, it has a similar kind of slightly muted metallic finish. It's not quite like it's definitely not the mirror finish that you would see on a lot of kind of advertised metallic kits, but this kind of metallic shiny finish is quite nice, and these runners were printed in April of 2022. Runners B1 and B2 for a bunch of inner frame, miscellaneous armor parts, and hand parts in this kind of injection metallic purple. You can see kind of from the very prominent swirling here that you see in a lot of Bandai's injection metallic kits. I'm pretty sure this is a different color than what you would have seen on the base Cybaster. It's nice, but nowhere near as nice, of course, as those extra finish silver colors we just took a look at. Speaking of that extra finish silver, here's runner C with some more extra finish silver armor parts for the torso, the collar, and you can see parts for the head. Runners D1 and D2 in a kind of standard yellow for a bunch of accent parts for like the talons for Cybird mode, and you see the handles for the disc cutter and the Vanity Ripper. Runner E for a bunch of joint parts in that same kind of injection metallic purple as runners B1 and B2. Runners F1 and F2, F1 being kind of an injection metallic red. Again, some pretty nasty swirling on the parts. And runner F2 in a clear green for a bunch of accent parts. 2 of runner G2 in clear purple and orange for some kind of hemispherical accent parts. And runner G1 for the blades for both the Vanity Ripper and the disc cutter in this very nice kind of mirror finish like metallic like chrome for the blades, which is quite nice. 2 of runner BA14 for like a supplementary action base 14 to hold the high familiars. And as is typical for the High Grade Super Robot Wars line, an included Action Base 4, with the arm being in clear and the base being in black. So with all those runners out of the way, I will see you after the build. Alright, welcome back. Here's the High Grade Cybaster Extra Finish version. Pretty much just snap built with some light panel lining. I tried to do more panel lining, but it doesn't really show up, especially on the metal finish parts. But yeah, this is a kit that if you're definitely buying the metal finish version, you're probably just going to snap build it and leave it. It's designed to look very impressive without putting in much extra work. I did paint in some parts instead of using the color correcting stickers, but I'll point that out later. I will just point out as a quick disclaimer, this kit looks a lot better on camera than it does in person. It's significant, it's like a little less shiny in person, but anyway. Build-wise, this kit is a little surprising, especially for the High Grade Super Robot Wars line. It's a nice high grade to be sure, but it's a lot less nice than a lot of the other Super Robot Wars kits. Notably, there's a lot of hollow spaces on this kit which we'll take a look at in the aesthetic section, but you can even see like right there on the bottom like kind of talons that are up, it's very hollow inside. But yeah, there's a lot of hollow spaces, there's a lot of lack of color separation, but a lot of what you would want to see in the Cybaster is here. A lot of that very unique geometry. It's very faithful to kind of the design for the suit with the very strange proportions. And a lot of parts kind of layer on quite nicely, like especially on that tail for the Cybird form. That's a bunch of parts that kind of layer on besides the big 2 halves that form the main body of it. The back shoulders, of course, 3 big pieces that layer on top of each other. There's also a lot fewer parts than I was expecting. Kind of the giant size of the box is mostly due to kind of the large volume of the parts. You can see the very kind of large protrusions on the shoulders, of course, those back parts, those big purple parts extending from the back, the Cybird head. All of that takes up a lot of space, and they also have to separate out all of the plated runners in separate bags because they don't want them kind of rubbing against each other and tarnishing the finish. Also for the build, the nub marks were pretty typical for the most part. Very thin on edges, so they're very easy to clean up. At least they would be, except for the metal parts. While they did undergate a lot of the metal parts, they didn't undergate all of them. There are several parts on this kit where the nub marks are visible. They're just kind of black spots, and there isn't really a way to clean them up while preserving the finish. You can't sand or file them because, of course, that'll destroy the finish around it. Buffing out with the fingernails, similar story. Knife, similar story. And even if you did, it would be buffing off. There's no finish there, so it's going to look different anyway. So the only real way to fix it would be to use something like a Shine Silver Gundam marker just to patch it over. I did that for the blades, which of course there isn't really a way to undergate with the way they're designed. I just put a little bit of plated EX silver on them to cover up the nub marks. But yeah, the build for this kit was nice, but you can tell that this was the first high-grade Super Robot Wars kit where it's not quite as nice as future releases. I think in particular the other main Super Robot that they have in high-grade form, the Daigengwar, that's leagues better than this. Aesthetically, this kit is quite nice, at least the parts that didn't require sticker corrections. A lot of the geometry is there from the original Cybaster. They didn't tweak the proportions too much, so you still have that very unique shape with the kind of very bird-like head kind of sunken into the collar of the torso. It doesn't really extend out the neck, which gives it a very unique silhouette. Of course, these very distinct wings on the back with their very sharp edges kind of jutting out. The Cybird head, of course, dipping down to the bottom, the very distinct yellow talons on the feet. I was debating painting over all of the non-metallic parts in metallic colors, so these kind of injection metallic red in metallic red Gundam marker, and the talons in like EX yellow gold or something, but I decided against it because, again, if you're getting the plated version of this kit, you're probably just getting it to snap build it and then put it on the shelves because it just looks nice as is without any extra effort. If you got the standard version, absolutely paint it all over, like, in metallic colors. Like, that would be fine. But yeah, this kit has extremely varied geometry. The color separation is not great, as you saw with this gigantic sticker sheet. There are many color apps that need to be kind of fixed manually on this kit, which isn't fantastic. You do get some nice color separation in some parts, like the red on the head crest, the red in the knees. All of these like clear green parts are all separate parts. There are some exceptions, which will be stickers, which I'll point out later. But yeah, in general, aesthetically, this kit is very nice, except for color accuracy. And of course, you have some hollow parts, most egregiously in the talons on the bottom. But I don't think they're super deal breakers, especially if you have this kit in kind of standard mode and not in Cyberd mode. Quickly going over the sticker sheet. Also, I like to note that this kit is kind of hard to balance on his feet, like without having it do a bit of a lean forward. You can kind of support it by having the Cyberd head just kind of tilted down a little to act as a third leg, but that doesn't look the greatest. Alright, so sticker 1, you get 2 of, is going to be these large kind of wraparound purple stickers for these large kind of blade pieces mounted to the shoulder, which it's a shame it's not just a separate purple part. They definitely could have just had one that's slotted on, like they do with a bunch of other parts in this kit. Stickers 2 and 3 I did not use because they were wraparound stickers for these spikes on the back that they're supposed to be metallic red. I just painted those with a metallic red Gundam marker. Sticker 4 you get 2 of, also on the back. It's kind of hard to see with the wings, but there's a small foil green triangle on these back kind of spike parts that are foil stickers, as opposed to the green parts on the front, which are just clear pieces. So it's kind of a shame that they didn't just print 2 more tiny little clear green pieces to go in here. Sticker 5 is expected. Of course, it's going to be these tiny little eye stickers, which are kind of hard to see with the kind of unique sculpt of the Cybaster with its brow kind of drooping down in front of the eyes. But yeah, it definitely gives it a very kind of mean look that I like. Stickers 6 and 7, much like 2 and 3, are going to be foil red wraparound stickers that I did not use. I just painted these in metallic red. I was going to use them, but I couldn't get them to fit on well enough. They just looked completely awful, wouldn't fit on right. These purple ones I got on pretty convincingly. Sticker 8 you get 2 of, and they're going to be on the disc cutter for this very small foil green circle on the pommel, on one on each side. Sticker 9 you get 4 of for these 4 larger foil green circles on the crossguard, 2 for each side. Sticker 10 you get 2 large foil green kind of stacked square parts for the center of each high familiar. These little green triangles on the right I just painted in metallic green. Those are silver, just out of the box. Stickers 11, 12, 13, and 14 are all, you get 2 of each, and they're all going on these 2 big wing sections. All of these black parts you see here are all stickers. Those would be easy enough to just paint in black as a recessed detail. Just get like a black panel liner or something, just fill it in. Those aren't too egregious. Sticker 15 you get 2 of on the inside of the wings for these yellow triangle color apps here. And sticker 16 and 17 go on the collar for these 2 kind of, I guess emblem or eye parts on the collar here. A yellow circle in the black background. It's important to note that underneath that sticker, if they are color separated, there is a yellow circle in there, except the background is purple and not black. So that would also be easy enough to just kind of fill in with black panel liner or something. So overall, not great on the sticker front. I mean, a lot of them are foil stickers, but still, the amount of wraparound stickers and kind of color apps that you need to apply, while they also show that they are willing to include plenty of transparent parts here, like this part in the abdomen, for color accuracy is a little odd, especially on parts like these rear spikes, where they're pretty much identical to the front spikes, except they don't have a transparent green piece to hook onto, so you just need a foil sticker instead. Again, very odd choices. Also, pointing out the hollow parts, the worst are in the talons on the bottom, as you can see, pretty much completely hollow underneath, not much detail at all. which might hurt its appearance in Cyber mode. And of course, as always, here is a size comparison between a standard size high grade, being the high grade Blue Destiny Unit 1, and a standard size master grade, being the master grade Gym Sniper 2 White Dingo team. Yeah, so as you can see, it kind of stands in between the two, similar to the Huckbine, at least at head height. At shoulder height, with the giant wings, it is in fact taller than the Gym Sniper 2. This is a non-scale kit, which as I mentioned earlier, being 28.5 meters tall, this thing would be taller than the Gym Sniper 2. In that case, similar to the Daigengwar, that kit's also slightly smaller than a typical master grade, despite being, I think, like 50 meters tall in universe. But yeah, I guess just to kind of keep it in line with other high grades on the shelf, it's big, but not too big. But just note that because of the extra kind of volume it takes up with these large wings and the Cybrid head and all that, you will need to allocate extra space on your shelf for this. And especially with those like large protrusions on the shoulders, extra space to the side of it. Right, now for articulation. In the head, you're not going to get too much with how recessed it is in there. Especially with the kind of large size of it. You can only really turn it a little bit before it starts colliding with the collar. So, yeah, not the greatest. You get maybe a 45-degree turn to either side. Believe it or not, this is in fact the highest it can look up. And when it looks down, it just kind of descends into its own collar. So yeah, head articulation, not the greatest, but I don't think anyone was expecting it to be with this kind of unique sculpt. Also, when you have it look up, it kind of separates from the purple base a little bit, so just be careful. Shoulders. They don't move separately from the arm, so they will allow the arm to go up. So the whole thing is on a hinge. It will allow the arm to go up quite far, about 135 degrees. Of course, as you saw, a rotation in the upper bicep. A full double bend in the elbow, giving almost 180 degrees before the kind of forearm armor collides with the bicep armor. Full 360-degree rotation, of course. Hand is on a ball joint, but it's kind of very recessed in there, so you won't get too much rotation out of it. And of course, these shoulder spikes can kind of swing up and down. For the torso, you get... It is kind of hard to kind of grip onto to manipulate the torso without shifting the side skirts too much, but you do have 360-degree rotation in the torso. For ab crunch, you will get a pretty decent amount up and a slight downward bend before it collides with the waist armor. Of course, these front spikes will move up and down a little bit on the back. These rear spikes will do the same. These wings are on ball joints, so of course they can do ball joint things, but they do pop out easily, so just be careful. And these two parts in the middle can spread out, but that's for the Cyber transformation, so it doesn't really count. Also, as you just saw, this kit is a little floppy, with kind of the extra size and the articulation it needs for transformation, so just be careful. For the waist, this front part can swivel. It can't really go out, but it can swivel. The side skirts can swing out a tiny bit. Back skirts, these two are separated and on ball joints. And of course the Cybird tail can move, but that's mostly for the transformation. Or the Cybird head. For the legs, front kick, you need to kind of swivel the front skirt out of the way. But, yep. As you saw there, it is a little loose. But yeah, you can get about 90 degrees before it starts wanting to fall off. For the front kick. For the back kick, despite kind of these being on ball joints, you can really only get about 45 degrees backwards. Again, every time you do this, the leg kind of wants to pop off. Side raise, you can get about 90 degrees. Of course, rotation of the upper thigh. Full double bend on the leg. Nice 180 degree bend right there. And you can see the knee kind of slides out for Cyber transformation, so be careful. Ankles, of course, this is on a ball joint, so it will do ball joint things to the sides, front and back, but your rotation to the front and back will be limited by kind of the thickness of the armor and this front piece. And of course, these talons, the front and back, are on hinges, and the sides are on ball joints, but that's mostly for the cyber transformation. So overall articulation, pretty nice, and for the most part, the head and torso are a little disappointing, but the rest of it is more than enough. Also, a part I would like to point out, before I forget, there is no peg, there's no hole or peg for an action base on this kit, so if you want up an action base in Cybaster mode, you will need the fork. For accessories, this is the Cybaster Extra Finish version, which with everything it comes with. As you can see, the spread is largely melee oriented, and of course we get some nice goodies, being a high-grade Super Robot Wars kit. So starting with hand options, in addition to the closed fists that are on the kit right now, we get a pair of kind of standard holding hands for use with any of its swords, as well as this pair of nice open expressive hands, kind of showing off the very sharp claws it has for hands. We have the Cybaster's primary long-range attack option being the 2 high familiars, of course piloted by the pilot's magical talking familiar cats. These kind of 2 drones will just fly around and shoot at things, but as accessories for this kit, they just kind of sit there and look nice with a decent sculpt, of course being in the same kind of metallic finish as the main armor of the Cybaster, and of course they'll have 3mm holes in the bottom for mounting on any 3mm peg. These 2 stands that come with the kit, they were labeled as Action Base 14, kind of on the runners, and they will do the job of holding up accessory parts like the high familiars. They're too weak to hold up any like proper kit. You get the standard release Cybaster's main weapon, the disc cutter, kind of this very standard kind of double-edged longsword with a white crossguard, some decent detailing, paneling that brown, and with the foil stickers on, or if you just paint it metallic green, these kind of gem parts on the handle on the crossguard and the pommel do kind of pop. Some nice molded detail on the blade in this nice chrome finish. Of course, being a high-grade Super Robot Wars kit, it does come with this nice Action Base 4, which, unlike something like the Huckbind, does kind of fit the scale of this being a larger mech. And of course, the new accessory for the Extra Finish version, the Vanity Ripper, which universes an upgraded version of the disc cutter. The disc cutter just kind of morphs into it when it wants to use the Vanity Ripper for attacks. It is 2 swords, one with a nice mirror finish chrome blade here, some nice clear green parts on the on kind of the middle of the crossguard, some clear orange parts for gems embedded in the blade, and then a secondary purple blade, kind of in that metallic injected purple, clear purple gems on the blade. No clear green parts on it whatsoever, but of course the 2 can combine into one large sword. To do that, there's a hole here that this tab will slide into, but before we do that, the handle will pop out, kind of 180, and slide into the blade, and then the 2 will just kind of clip together to form this one kind of large combined blade, which is pretty cool. So, with those accessories out of the way, let's get into some poses. So getting Cybaster into a bit of a spin, starting in a ground pose, kind of preparing to strike with the disc cutter. This is a kind of pose that shows off this kit's like biggest strength, just kind of standing there looking imposing, looking cool, just the sheer presence of it, with the shine of the metallic parts and the size of it. It doesn't articulate super well, especially in the legs. The arms are usually fairly decent, getting whatever pose you would want. The legs are kind of this kit's weak point in terms of posing, which we'll see when we get into the aerial poses. But right now, this really shows like how good the kit looks, just kind of on the ground, feet planted, kind of letting the chrome blade kind of shine in front of it. This is an excellent pose, and I would definitely consider posing the Cybaster like this on the shelf. Getting into a bit of an aerial pose then, we see some of the problems with this kit. One, first off, the Cyberd head that it has kind of as a back skirt tail thing really gets in the way of the action base that comes with it. You can't have it too vertical up on the action base without the tail colliding with the arm and just not being able to pose it. So it kind of always has to be in this forward lean charge in mobile suit mode. I also have it on the fork here because there's no like hole or anything to mount a standard 3mm peg, so you just kind of have to precariously balance it on the fork and have it do this kind of forward dash. So dashing out with the disc cutter, again, this kind of dash looks a little awkward, especially with the head and the limited vertical articulation with it. You can't have it look up too far to have it actually kind of stare down whoever it's about to slash. So yeah, this kit definitely looks a lot better on the ground in Cybaster mode. But yeah, this air pose is okay, but not something I would consider posing it like on the shelf as. So having it with kind of a double-handed pose with the disc cutter, planting it to the ground, and having the high familiars fly out to attack, this is definitely an extremely cool pose, especially because there is nowhere to store either the Vanity Ripper, the disc cutter, or the high familiars when they're not in use. They're just going to be in the box in storage. So having a pose like this where it can show off the high familiars and the blade and everything is just very cool. It shows off the whole package. It has a lot of presence. Again, with the kind of wings flaring out behind it, it takes up a lot of space, and the kind of shine of all the metallic parts on top of that just adds to this incredible unique shelf presence and imposing kind of stature that this kit has that a lot of other kits just kind of lack. So this is an excellent posing option. I will probably have it like this on my shelf after this review. Next, taking a look at the Vanity Ripper, first in the split kind of dual wielding mode. This sword is fairly interesting in terms of both like the shape and the color. In terms of actually getting into the pose, it's significantly worse than the disc cutter. The disc cutter is kind of very oblong in handle shape, which means the hands kind of hold on to it very not snugly because it can still slide up and down, but well enough that it won't kind of slip in the hand. These two handles are both round and fairly thin, so they will kind of slip and rotate and slide around when you're trying to get the arms into the right pose, which is very annoying to get right. They look very cool. It's just a shame that the Cybaster can't really hold on to it super well, especially because this is, again, the one unique accessory that comes with the extra finished version of the kit. But yeah, dual-wielding the swords, a pretty cool option. Maybe consider putting on the shelf. I'm not going to. And of course, you can join the two blades together into one really big sword, and having it here, this kind of forward flight pose about to slash someone. This is the pose that is on the box as promotional art. It's up on the P-Bandai page. This is the pose just kind of showing off the Vanity Ripper in all its glory. And again, it's a very cool weapon, but it has some shortcomings. As you can see, the kind of the two blades don't exactly join together perfectly. There's always going to be a little gap in the middle. If you're standing like a foot or two away while you're looking at it on the shelf, it's not really noticeable, but up close, it's definitely very annoying. Again, especially considering this is the only new accessory that comes with this kit, and its big thing of having two swords that join into one big sword not being able to join snugly is kind of disappointing. But yeah, again, extremely cool pose, very imposing, very unique kind of weapon here, especially with the clear, different colored like gems embedded in the blades themselves and on the handle. Definitely very cool. I would consider posing it like this on the shelf. But of course, the Cybaster is not just a kind of humanoid mobile suit. It can also turn into the Cybird. I'm gonna be honest, this might be one of the worst transformations I have ever seen. Like, people joke about like Neo Bird mode from the wing just being a mobile suit kind of crumpled up underneath a shield and just flying around. This literally looks like the Cybaster is doing a dive kick while showing off his giant bird dong. It just doesn't look good. It's not really convincing that this is like supposed to be a transformation. It is accurate. It does kind of look like this, so it's more of a design problem than a kit problem. It's just this looks not great, and I really would not consider posing the kit like this. It's cool that they included it. I mean, they kind of have to because it's a core mechanic of the Cybaster, but again, this looks kind of awkward and weird, and I would never pose the kit like this. So in conclusion, the high-grade Cybaster Extra Finish version is a very unique kit. The actual metallic finish is quite nice. It's reminiscent of the Master Grade Hyakushiki 2.0, which is a very good thing. That's my favorite kind of metallic finish. I'm not the biggest fan of the mirror finishes they do on a lot of metallic kits these days, but this is a kit that has extremely unique appearance with its kind of bird knight-like aesthetic that isn't shared by pretty much any other Bandai kit to my knowledge. There are knight kits and there are kind of bird-like kits, but there's not both together. And the combination of kind of its size, its unique sculpt, the two swords, or I guess technically three swords, that it comes with, all of it together make for this extremely unique kit with a lot of shelf presence that will definitely make a very unique addition to any collection, but that is not to say that it doesn't have its shortcomings. Notably, articulation is fairly weak in the legs. I might have neglected to mention this earlier, but the torso, I was mistaken. It can't actually rotate because of like a piece in the waist, so you're stuck kind of in some very undynamic poses, and you do kind of have to manipulate perspective a bit to get it to look cooler than it is. It has some very nice crunch, but it just can't rotate. Leg articulation is also fairly weak, and the skirts tend to get in the way a lot. The hollow spaces on the bottom of the kind of claws on the feet, in addition to a lack of a 3mm hole for easy action-based mounting, kind of discourages aerial posing unless it's in Cyberg mode, which, as I mentioned earlier, is a very underwhelming kind of design for a transformation. And of course, there's the elephant in the room being the price. I pay $72 for this kit, and frankly, I cannot recommend it for that price. Honestly, just go for, if you really like the Cybaster, just get the base Cybaster kit and then just paint it over using like a Gundam marker, like shine silver. Use like yellow gold for the sword and the talons. Use plated silver for the blades. Like all of that. Like if you consider the $20 extra price on this kit to be worth like not having to do that extra effort, then by all means go ahead. Frankly, I would rather just get the base Cybaster painted over, and the Vanity Ripper, while it's a cool addition, has several key problems that kind of make it very lackluster as the only additional accessory on this kit, and definitely is not a reason to spring for this $72 high grade. So yeah, that was my review of the high grade Cybaster Extra Finish version. What do you think of this kit? Let me know in the comments below. If you like reviews like these, please consider subscribing. If you like this video, give it a like. And a couple of housekeeping things. So my next video, I'm not quite sure exactly what it's going to be. So I'm applying to grad schools and stuff, and I don't know exactly how much time I'm going to have to make the next video. If I don't have that much time, it's going to be a fairly quick video on the high-grade Chuchu's Demi trainer. And if I do have enough time to make a kind of full-length, kind of standard video, it will be on the real grade G3 Gundam. So regardless of whichever it is, I will see you then.